Welcome. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, presenting 7 ways why I rose out of thinking. I know that sounds weird. Sounds like it can never happen. But everything you think and know came from yesterday. So I now understand. I think and know my way to yesterday to understand everything. Everything I think know comes from my past. Indoctrinated education, parents' viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, everyday life, and socialized whatever. But when you rise to understand, you think in the memories of yesterday. You know in the memories of yesterday, because as soon as you say think and know, you shut off listening and understanding. So when I rose out of thinking and knowing, I arose of listening, understanding, and comprehending my present moment events with questions, wisdom, and revelations. Because thinking and knowing is yesterday. You'll never get to the here and now by thinking and knowing it, because thinking and knowing has images and memories in the subconscious mind, and as soon as something triggers one of the memories, you go into yesterday. And another thing I understand is the world's been stuck in ancestor survival mode programming. If you really step back and get calm, look at the world, we still do a lot of things the same as our ancestors. Yeah, we got technology, we got this, but the two biggest industries in the world is war and pharmaceuticals. So here to understand that, what really will rise the world is people understanding they encompass sleek, unique talents. And the more I rise of this understanding, thinking causes all my trauma and drama. Because as soon as I start thinking somebody did this, revenge thinking, negative, pessimistic ways enter my mind. And it also is my fears and insecurities. You think and know through your insecurities and immaturities. You listen, question the images of your inspirations to comprehend the wisdom in the inspirations, to understand you encompass the witted grit, get and go to galvanize your optimism, expressing the revelations of your life. I rose out of thinking and knowing to expressing my inspirations that flow through me. Thinking and knowing, you'll never have a flow of anything. It'll always be stuck in the muck of whatever it is. You know, it gets kind of unsteady, unsavory to think we live the same as our ancestors. We just modernize the conveniences of it. And survival mode, my ancestors' survival mode anguish programming still controls today. Where do you think your anger come from? It comes from your parents and their parents and their parents. See, everything in life is kind of like a hand-me-down suit. It comes from their parents all the way down, but we've never rose out of all the thinking about it. And that's something, it isn't a big deal, but once you understand it, you can rise and liberate you from you. All the self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, change, heal, create, transformation, forgiveness, all that is you liberating you from you. But you'll never liberate yourself through change, heal, create, transformation, forgiveness, think, know, learn, knowledge, because it all has ingrained images of the past. Now, if you want to rise of the here and now, you listen, question, comprehend the wisdom and the revelations in your intuition, imagination, innovation, and inspiration. You image your inspirations and express them. You rise out of the thinking memory mind. The mind is a bind from yesterday. And once you start listening to the mind does two things. It goes into memory or it's looking for somebody to blame something for. And that's what it does. And see, that's why I rose out of mindfulness. I'll never have mindfulness. I want a clean slate of innate scenery within me. I want a pristine canvas so I can color, design, sculpt my desired lifestyle and image it into my real world. But as I really open up to this, the subconscious mind is a protective mechanism, and it's going to stop free flowing listening, inspiration, intuition. It's going to stop anything outside of your thinking and knowing and things you've always done. So are you open to rising out of your thinking, to rising, to listening, understanding, comprehending, listening for the wisdom and the revelations you want to express to the world? And if you really get right down to it and just get very, very in the veracity of now, of the here and now, whatever you think is truth and reality comes from your viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, thinking, your subconscious representations, and it never allows you to go anywhere. And because thinking and knowing have an ingrained descriptions in the subconscious mind of whatever that of your life was as you was growing up. Me personally, for me, I had to go back to my parents. And I really started realizing I lived the same lifestyle in the same way my parents did. Yeah, I got the modernizations, but their insecurities, immaturities, their wisdom, whatever they encompassed and they taught me, I encompass today. And the way I rose out of it, I admit to me, and that's going to be tomorrow night's podcast. I admit to me I'm free. But see, when you're in a thinking mind, you got all the blame, shame, shams going on, and it's everybody else's fault. Somebody owes you something. And here's the thing: 0 people owe you anything. Whatever happened out here, you may have gotten taken advantage of, but I've been taken advantage of, but that's my fault. I made the mistake of trusting people in the marketing people of the world. I've learned something. There's very few marketers out there with any integrity. So when somebody tells me business, I run away from it. Anybody that says, I have a business, I can help you with your business. Because business is nothing more than a name on a sheet of paper in a file cabinet. And once you get dealing with them, you're going to hear they sound just like a robot in that file cabinet because they think it's all business. Life has nothing to do with business. Life is a liberating invitation, fostering experiences to rise me out of yesterday to enjoy today. Because business is nothing more than a name on a sheet of paper, and business is nothing more than education. It's people skills this world lacks, and a thinking, knowing, memory mind has 0 communication skills with anything outside of what they learned in school. And I'm really opening up to understand that. You watch the world, people are really ingrained in the pain of their education because anything beyond that education, they're confused and afraid. And it's like this: everybody thinks business runs the world. If business is all shut down tomorrow, would the world still function? Yes. If all the people stayed home for 30 days, the world would be shut down. Everybody thinks business and education runs the world. And they got us in that fallacy and that fake and bake BS of that. People are the energy of the world. The wisdom, insight, clarity, innovation, innovative talents, of the world. And everybody's into this AI for making money, but how is AI stealing the innovation of the people? For everything out there that's really good, there's always a little dark spot over here to question of everything. You don't want to know an answer. You want to question your way to the pathway of enlightenment. And as you speak the word mind, what happens? Mind goes into memory, or the mind goes looking for something, usually something wrong and uncomfortable. And that's the thing. And when you say think and know, does it shut off right here? To see, the subconscious mind's in the body. The subconscious mind can come up, but think and know never goes down. When you listen to the inspirations of your own caves of celebration, see, we got like caves of celebration, acumen, visionary epiphanies in here, but they never get by here because we shut them off with the thinking memory mind. And your intuition, imagination, innovation, intuition, that is above your thinking memory mind. When you say think, you stink. When you know, you're bestowed below deck, and the mind is a bind. As wisdom, insight, and clarity celebrate life, adventurously realizing eternal trend-setting pizzazz dances you through life. I rose out of thinking about my life and trying to know my way through life, through my days in life, because they all passed away. Because when you think and know, you're inside what you learn from somebody else. As sovereign liberation opens you up to the new way of life, and learning, thinking, knowing, learning, and knowledge and thoughts are created from socialized education, parents, way of life, unrealized childhood reflections about your life, unadmitted ancestor survival mode programming, and third world control mindsets. And something I really want to touch on there. We have been taught a third world enslaving mindset, unknowing to us. Because if you look at the world and get honest, the people in the higher ups of the world, corporate America and so on, they think they own the working people. They think everything we do is for business and education. We have big business, a lot of highly educated people. So if we're so educated, why are we living in the most corrupt, unsavory and times in history? When you stop listening to people outside of your little comfort zone cave of cloning, you're in a hell of a mess. And that's where the world is today. I'm going to be right honest with you. This world is too selfish and greedy, with seedy people in the power positions for the world to move forward. See, for this world to get liberated and rise, we got to have forthright veracity to move forward. Veracity is I never lie to myself. And see, education and all the outside world, they can manipulate you into thinking that we're good. And if anybody thinks the world is good, that's good. Me, the world is inviting me to foster emancipating events, experiences, and encounters for people to rise out of the thinking, memory, knowing mind that is a bind of yesterday. Something I really opened up to. And if you look at the landscape of the world, just the landscape, we got the southern border, we got the Middle East. What's the difference between today and 100 years ago outside of mechanization and better medicine and more computers? And hell, let's just be honest, we got better weapons than we've ever had. We've actually moved forward, and war, we modernized the war mechanism and It's escaping me right now, but military industrial complex, and it actually controls the world. President Dwight D. Eisenhower told the United States not to mess with the military industrial complex. If you look at the world, we are engulfed and embedded into the military complex, and the world is more violent, and we're more educated, and the world is more violent than any time in history. So tell me all your business and your education is doing good, because it's the supercharged educated people that are doing all the rackety crap to the people. You know, when this country was young and we had farming mentality, we actually had some integrity, but the more educated we become, the more disingenuous and crooked the world has become. And that is just one, and it isn't saying anything bad, but we think and know business and education. We never have understood wisdom, insight, clarity, innovative talents, the free flowing intuition, imagination, innovation within us will rise us. If you rise yourself out of the cloning of corporations in the world, you rise yourself up to ride the tides of your trend setting ingenuity, dancing every day. You rise out of the yuckety muck of the socialized way of life. That's something I really understand. And with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, I have something called Sovereign Liberation and Politically Incorrect Inspiration, dissolving the perfection programming of college education, all education, but mostly dissolving all the political correctness within you. This world is so politically correct it can never move forward, because it's all about business and education. And how is business and education? You have to answer this question yourself. How has business and education moved you forward? You know, I'm an electrician, and I understand one thing. When there's a big, like them hurricanes, they didn't call for education. They called for us, for electricians and plumbers and stuff like that, to put the world back together. Did you ever notice a blue collar puts it together, and the higher ups in the corporations, they destroy the world? And that's something I've really opened up to myself, is it's up to the people to move the forward in life. But here is the real understanding of the world. People have the wisdom to move the world forward. And that's the thing, you know, education is required, but education will never rise us out more than our own innovative talents. That's what we really want to do here. People, you got to communicate with your own wisdom, insight, clarity, then communicate that to the world. People are afraid to say hi to each other. And that is something, because I've actually rose out of my 5 things that have controlled my life, and I didn't even do anything. I mean, I rose out of it, but it's my own egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance, stubbornness, hard-headedness. Things had to be my way. There's a whole list of them. That's been my challenges, and I was too stubborn to admit it to them. But once I started admitting to them, once I really started admitting to it, I really opened up to a whole new way of life. And I began my way through life. But when I let go of thinking and opened up to listening and understanding and comprehending, I liberated me from me. And that's where life is, listening. Took me 65 years to learn how to listen. And I ain't giving listening up for nothing. Because you're never in chaos or challenge if you're listening and questioning that situation. Because you're being showed that situation to liberate you from you. And that's the thing, self-help, personal growth, I had all this stuff going on. But what I really opened up to understand is if I listen, question, and comprehend and express the inspirations I into it from the situation, I rise out of myself. All this stuff everybody's trying to do is really just liberate you from you, because the outside world is illusion, delusion of what you think it is. It's all that the outside world does is show you where you're inhibited and held back from your own talents. The world is really looking and asking people to rise of peace and prosperity by presenting their innovative talents rather than our egotistical talents. I had good egotistical talents. They just weren't worth nothing for anybody, not even me. But if you're open into listening and questioning and understanding, the life you desire is here, never up here. If you say in, you stay up here. If you say of, it comes from here, and it's a flow. And if you can open up to listening to your free-flowing inspirations, intuition, imagination, you rise. You want to be in the flow of your education, stream your intuition, and be the magician of your life. But if you're trying to think, no, change, heal, create, transformation, transform your life, you're stuck in your thinking, knowing mind with all your memories and everything controlling you. See, there's no control in flow. Thinking no is control. So if you're in the flow of listening to your intuition, imagination, you're the one rising out of your current situations. And the more I understand when something unsavory or unsteady or chaos is happening, that is a picture of awakening for me to admit that's going on and ask the questions that rise me out of the chaos into the celebration, harmonizing affluence, opening, streaming success. But all the success in the world is yours when you quit trying to follow your thinking, knowing mind, because it's in a bind from what other people taught you. You are the listener, the wisdom, the savant, and the sovereign of your life. I let go of self and use sovereign because sovereign is unattached by outside sources. And that gives you the inspiration, not the power, but the prowess. If you take the word power out and use the word prowess, that gives you the fluidity to maneuver yourself through your own life. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And tomorrow night is I Admit to Me, and we're going to talk. There's going to be there'll also be some questions for people to be able to use later, but it's really, you got to admit to yourself what everything is inside yourself. And anyway, I want to thank you, and may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me and the world.